into it.
That is a crazy breadth of experience.
Yeah, breadth of experience. And
right?
you remember, what are you like 40?
So about to be.
Yeah, about to.
Hi guys, welcome back to the To Synapse Pod. We have Ayush here today. He's back from his Holy Grail trip across the world. Yeah, I am Chirag, your usual host. And today we have a special guest again. His name is Himanshu. Himanshu, welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Always a good time with you.
Yes, so Himanshu is a dear friend. He's also doing some crazy things in fintech, which he will just tell you all about. Before we get to that, just wanted to give everyone a brief thought about fintech, what is happening in India, and how it is changing the world. So what has happened in the last few years? India has become this global child of fintech, right? Where it is being looked at as the next place for investments, also for ideas. For at a global level, people are trying to understand what can be picked up from the India story.
True.
And be replicated across the world, right? As a matter of fact, just in a couple of years, $8 billion of funding has gone into fintech. The assets under management, which people are thinking is going to hit around $1 trillion in the next couple of years. By 2030, people are imagining that the CAGR or compound annual growth rate is going to be somewhere around 12 to 14%, which is on the higher side. So we are today going to be discussing a lot about fintech and what's been happening in this story, right? And guys, no better person than Himanshu today to discuss about it. So Himanshu, why don't you introduce yourself and let people know what you're up to?
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you guys for inviting me for this podcast. So I am Himanshu. I am heading growth and strategy at Finbox, which is a fintech firm. And basically, my role revolves around a lot of things because it's a startup, 5-year-old startup. So my basic role is around creating avenues for growth for my company and creating partnerships, finding out new segments where we can basically venture out and create more business and create an idea of which basically we operate about. So create an idea around financial inclusion. And so in Finbox post my MBA, and it's been like 4-5 months there. And previously I had experience in the similar sector with the which is credit risk. So yeah, pretty much that is what I am doing at Finbox right now.
Yeah, so I see Himanshu, you're wearing this I am Calcutta shirt. Although it's looking very cool, I would want to know the story behind it. So starting from the first time, what was your first touching the waters in fintech, and how did that evolve into the story?
Yes. So I graduated college, and then I graduated from Delhi, and then I went into Musegma, which is a data science firm. There I used to work with Fortune 500 clients, which were into majorly banking and healthcare sector. Then I got a flavor of fintech over there while I was doing some decisioning for some of the great global giant banks. Post that, I switched to a startup, which is Ornova Consulting. There I used to work with Indian NBFCs and bureaus, doing a lot of ML and AI kind of things for a lot of clients. Then I basically went to Abu Dhabi to work with one of the biggest bank over there, which is First Abu Dhabi Bank. Did corporate banking kind of risk segmentation for them for a couple of years. That was my kind of the high time into the fintech when I realized its potential and what we are trying to do here, with a lot of data being churned out and a lot of decisioning being made in term bank. And obviously when I am talking about 16, 17, that time of the year, when the data was not that structured, the processes were not that defined, the algorithms were not that refined, and all kind of internet penetration was going around, and it was in the kind of a nascent stage that time. So then I switched gear. I did consulting at PwC for 2 years. I was helping public institutions and governments in India to make out better decisions. I cannot talk about them because of kind of confidential work which I did, but yeah, a lot of it involved finance and fintech. So post that, yeah, I took the decision and did my MBA from IIM Calcutta, and there also IIM Calcutta is a mecca for finance, and then I got to explore a lot of side of fintech and finance there also. So I was intrigued by the idea of how fintech is changing the landscape in India, and then obviously the obvious option for me to was to join a fintech firm in India and be a part of that revolution. So then I joined Finbox there, and then from there it's been 5 months, but it looks like that I've been there for like more than 2 years, 1 year.
That
So
is-
because it's kind of hustle that goes into it.
That is a crazy breadth of experience.
Yeah, breadth of experience. And
right?
what are you like 40?
So about to be.
Yeah, about to. Yeah.
But 40 by being the money man is not a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
Fantastic.
it always helps to have got some experience before going for your postgrad, and I think that helped me a lot because I had experience of
Yeah.
handling clients, solving problems earlier, and then shifting my gears to the startup.
So Himanshu, as head of growth and strategy for Finbox, right? What sector does Finbox come in, right? I briefly remember you telling us about lending as a use case, and so if you just look at fintech, right, it is spread across so many categories now, where BNPL is there, buy now pay later, lending, credit risk defaults,
Insurance,
insure tech,
Yeah.
credit swaps,
Yeah.
AAA, new bond formation, etc. There's just so much happening, and for most of us who are not dealing directly in fintech, it's just a massive ball of confusion. It is just tough to comprehend of
Yeah.
so much movement which has happened, and as it is, people used to fear going to banks. So, and I was one of them. Like I hated going to banks. It's just that the whole experience was so shitty, and filling those paperwork just to get the smallest of things done.
For a lot of people, I mean, fintech people relate to banking on internet, but in the past couple
Yeah.
of years, it has evolved much beyond that.
Much
It's-
beyond that.
It's not fintech. Like banking on internet is just adding internet to the banking. part,
Yeah.
Right. It's not fintech. Like using the technology and the data to take those financial decisions is what I believe fintech.
True.
Like complies.
Yeah.
Like what Finbox is working on. Finbox, like we were discussing like a while back, like Finbox is more on the infrastructure level, like taking the charge of building the infra of this fintech
Yeah.
revolution,
Yeah.
on top of which different other apps and product can be built. Like Himanshu
Yeah.
would be able to
Yeah.
like, explain.
So
that.
Himanshu, in the most, let's say, imagine we are your grandfather's age, and how would you explain everyone what does Finbox do? What is it all about, and what is its real value to the world?
So Finbox was ideated by our founders, who was basically there are 4 founders to Finbox. It was ideated in 2016. Anant and Rajat, they are both brothers, and then we have Nikhil and Srijan as the co-founders. So it is a team of odd 100 people right now, and we have offices in 2 offices in India, which is in Bangalore and Gurgaon. Information. It was ideated with the idea of financial inclusion initially, that because a lot of segments in India, if you talk about, so 40% of the population, 40-50% of the population are not under the gambit of like the formal banking. So a lot of people are not able to avail loans, and that is how the whole idea had came into the picture. And because they didn't have any kind of loans, and banks were not able to give them loans because they don't have any kind of a credit card history or something like that initially. So Finbox is basically ideated with the idea of financial inclusion, and then basically we have kind of 2 business lines right now. One is around data platforms, and the other is embedded finance. I will touch each one of them, and so that you guys get a clearer picture about that. So data platform, when I talk about data platforms, one of the flagship product that we have is Device Connect, which is basically kind of an SDK that gets integrated into any lending app. And we are able to basically take all the data from that app, which is again anonymized, and we basically create a score out of it. So just for a layman example, which I can give right now for loan, let's talk about one of the biggest NBFCs in India, which is Home Credit. So let's suppose the SDK gets integrated into the Home Credit app. Whenever the customer applies for a loan, all the data with right form of permissions we take from that particular customer, that comes to our server, which is anonymized. We don't get to know who the customer is. So that's the beauty of our product. So, and then we obviously create some kind of features out of them, and then we calculate their risk score out of that. And then that is how we are able to lend to those people who are new to credit also. So, well, just to give an example, that Finbox has kind of assessed around 55 to 60 million customers till now.
Wow.
Out of them, 33% are basically new to credit, and that is how we are able to disburse like around 3,000 to 5,000 crores of loans to these people who could be kind of, if we talk about the underserved section of the society, who could be a carpenter, who could be kind of a maid working in a household, who could be anybody who is earning way lower wage, and basically they are not able to sustain their family, and they need some kind of a credit in and out. So this is one of our, which is data platform, and then definitely we have certain use cases around Marketex and Collectex, where basically we are helping out our clients to increase their conversions. And then again, we are helping our clients to be intelligent about collections, because if you see the whole lending value chain, there is underwriting which happens through our device connect. Then we have enabled some use cases which is Collectex, which is through Collectex, which is our own proprietary product, which helps our clients to do the collections intelligently. So that is one part of that. The other part is basically embedded finance, which is basically, so we are kind of acting as a bridge between a lender who is lending out the money and the customer facing app. So kind of think of it as
like a full stack
solution.
Servicing the lending partners.
Yes. So there is KYC
to make intelligent decisions.
Yes. So there is, when we onboard the customer, so the KYC is there. Then there is underwriting that goes into the picture, and then obviously Bureau Connect, which is our flagship product, and then again there are other products like Sentinel, which is a business rule engine.
Makes sense.
So it is kind of a full stack that we are providing to the lender to create some origination point at any customer facing app, so that they can get set go lending over there. So these are the two business lines where we operate, and
makes sense. So bro, tell me about this. Like for example, you cannot choose. So there's a lending app called A, and then there's a lending app called B. Let's say A is serving the underserved community, where average ticket size of a loan amount may be just 10,000 rupees.
Yes.
Right. Whereas there's another lending app B, which only goes for the premium. Right. Let's say where the average loan amount goes easily to 15-20 lakhs. Right. How and if you're saying all of the data is anonymous and there is an SDK behind it, how do you, to build on top of the intelligence, does the client persona also make a lot of sense? Because you would never get to know whether this customer details, because the data is different.
The thing is that the high chip client that you're talking about, the banks are there to serve them, right? So they have a credit history. The problem with the underserved community or the people who are new to credit is
no one looked at them.
The banking.
No one looked at them. No, everyone was like they will definitely default. Or
no, not that. They don't have the credit history.
There is no digital record of their expenses.
So the kind of job that new age fintech startups are doing is to give credit to these people, because we all know that credit is like the superpower one can have in any nation, right? Because it can it can be a growth catalyst for any nation, right? So I mean, Bangladesh Gramin Bank is so famous in Bangladesh because it covers 93% of the villages now. With 97% of the members being women. So these are the kind of people who will never default. It's based on trust. It's not based on collateral, not based on any credit history, but based on trust and kind of participation community can do. So the whole idea of micro lending or fintech micro financing is that people who are taking lesser amount of credit won't default because there's a lot to lose as compared to a lot to gain, because that's a small amount, right? So the threshold is less. People are more likely to pay back in order to get that short burst of credit in the next month or in the coming months. So that's where Finbox and other fintech startups
Correct.
are coming in, that they don't want to serve the high chip client right now.
I get it. So essentially, the intelligence built for the masses.
But we are definitely very ahead in terms of the tech infra that we are using, the kind of ML AI algorithms that we have built, which are kind of explainable, which don't have any kind of a bias when we are trying to do lending. So a lot of loopholes or a lot of things we are trying to fix when we talk about Finbox. And so if we talk about the fintech thing also, like so it started with some kind of in the 1950s, it started with some kind of a Morse code, and where the information used to transfer between two parties using Morse code. Then it went to the kind of a 1990s where the online banking started, and I think ICICI was the one actually who started the online banking. And then after the financial crisis, a lot of development happened in terms of internet. If we talk about India, internet penetration, household income going up, there is a lot of data revolution that happened. That happened and actually is right now happening also.
True.
So that actually created an environment for a lot of fintech ideas to pop out and then actually create a mass appeal to the customers. So that's how we can think of fintech as divided into wealth tech, insure tech, your lending is there, your payments is there. Payments, we've already seen a lot of revolution, and since and I need to build up a system, there are a lot of BNPL companies coming out, there are a lot of credit card companies coming out, there are a lot of infrastructure companies coming out. So the space is getting exciting day by day, and I mean, like, you can see a lot of players like Finbox, Slice, Unicards. Totally, all of three of them serving some different use cases. Finbox providing the infra for the next generation of the lenders. Slice is basically a BNPL, a kind of a product, and Unicard is again the credit card, revolutionizing the credit card.
So what I'm noticing is that the Fintech Revolution actually what it did was it took a traditional bank which was doing end-to-end full stack solution of everything, analyzed its individual products and the kind of TG that product was tapping, and just disintegrated each, and that's where
And made it faster.
individual and made it faster, cheaper, and better.
Yes, definitely,
Right?
definitely. I mean, so just think of an example of a credit card versus the BNPL, what it is doing. So let's suppose that Ayush is there, and Ayush goes to a coffee cafe, and he buys a coffee over there through his credit card. So what happens is that the merchant, who is basically it could be anyone, and the coffee shops could be Starbucks, could be Theo's, anything. So they end up paying some kind of a commission to the issuer bank. So it could be like 2.5%, 2%, something like that. And that commission is basically revolved around to the customer as in terms of the loyalty point, the advantage they get. So this whole cycle of the thing, and the loyalty is basically who is getting the loyalty. The issuer bank is getting the loyalty. So in this whole ecosystem, the merchant is at a loss. So the BNPL is a kind of a product where they are trying to solve these kind of problems, where they are trying to provide more conversion to the merchants by providing them a seamless and faster way of doing that, and their merchants, then retailers, are able to create a kind of a relationship with the kind of customers and they are having. So the whole credit again, talking about the credit card business, the whole credit card business is depending upon the revolvers, basically the customers who revolve. So it's kind of an adversarial system in terms of I was actually listening a podcast from the founder of Simple, who is again into a BNPL. Nitya Sharma, I think, and then he was talking about this whole concept, and he was talking about that how this credit card ecosystem is basically is a kind of creating an adversarial impact to the customers and then the merchants. Again, I mean, the credit card, if you talk about credit card journey, it's kind of you enter your credential, then you have an OTP and all these things, and then it takes a lot of time. It is not very user friendly. It is on a legacy, so it is carrying a very legacy burden over it. 60 years of old legacy, and then again the old stack, old tech, and a lot of players are involved into. Basically, if you are actually swipe a card over any kind of a merchant, there are a lot of players that are involved.
There are a lot of middlemen essentially.
Yes, a lot of complicated system. BNPL is trying to solve for that. So BNPL is just like paying your amount in a very layman term. BNPL is paying your amount at a later date. you can do it in installments or
Yeah.
you can pay it at one go.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, because it's kind of a, if you can think of a khata that used to be there. So like in India, it's very traditional that you have a lot of shops around you. You have a lot of khata that is going on. You take the product and then you pay later.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a modern form,
Yeah.
but it is again supported by a lot of tech, and tech has reduced a lot of cost in it, and then tech has actually made that particular thing possible in a very seamless manner.
Makes sense. So this is very interesting because when you mentioned Khata, I remembered certain things which my dad told me at one point of time, that in the unorganized markets of Delhi, right, things used to work like, if I would need some money from you, I would just give you a call. Hey man, just send me X amount of money, and you would say yeah sure. You would send the cash to me. I would receive the cash, and I would take a parchi or a strip of paper, and I would just write received, sign, and just the amount. And that strip of paper was actually the currency which was revolving around the whole market. And people used to trade on my strip of paper and the sign that, hey, I'm taking Chirag's loan, which Himanshu has given, and I would give it to some person else, and I would pay Himanshu directly, but I would cut 2%. Getting it? And then that money Chirag can pay me over a 6-month period of time.
True.
So this unorganized economy is already very prevalent at a massive scale. I think a lot of fintech startups are actually getting ideas by looking at the local market, how people are dealing. All these ledger apps like Khata Book, Pagar Book, and whatnot, they came from looking at the end consumer, right?
True.
That's what I always believe. Like, as the closer you analyze the end consumer and their behavior and habits, or the middlemen involved, the better the insight into building a product.
I think it's all about going back to those first principles and then building it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So, Himanshu, talking again about the growth opportunities of fintech in India. As per the recent statistics, and this I was really shocked to know this. 23 unicorns are fintech startups in India, and 1 in every 5th unicorn is a fintech startup. Literally, this sector has taken 20% of the wealth generation in terms of unicorns by startups, and that is insane just to look at it. I mean, there are so many sectors, but I think that's what they say, right? Go after the money trail. Where the money is, the maximum money is in finance. And this is what I was also talking to Ayush about. If you just go to Singapore, if you just go to US, if you go to New York, you see the coastline. Just look at the tallest buildings.
All the banks.
And look at the name on the top. They're all banks.
Yeah.
It is surprising and it is crazy.
Which means they're also ripe for disruption, which these
Absolutely. They're old.
Yeah.
They're ripe for disruption.
Correct.
So what I want to know is, Ayush, from you or Himanshu, like what has driven this massive growth in Indian unicorn sectors, specifically for fintech? What has happened? Happened?
I mean, like as Himanshu touched that 46% of the population in India is not being touched by the traditional banking system.
Yeah.
Right? And these are the people who, in a way, are also backbone of the country because they are providing so much different kind of services to the country. But yet they are not being able to avail the credit system, which should be there in order to grow and be more productive in the ecosystem or to the society. So I relate credit with the being productive towards the society, like increasing the productivity of the whole civilization. So the problem with the bank was like it's coming from my like personal experience also. Like I run this company Leaf, right? So Leaf has a very amazing track record in terms of financials. When I go to a bank that lend me some money so that I can grow in this coming year, they ask me 3 years balance sheet of the past, not present. I might be doing better in the present, right? And over top of that, they'll give me, let's say if I did X amount of revenue in the past 1 year, they'll give me like 4 or 5% of that whole amount as a growth money because non-collateral. Else they'll ask me for a collateral. And on top of that, they'll ask me for so much documents, they'll ask me for guarantee, they'll ask me for XYZ things. So now we have started working with RBS. What they do, they connect our Shopify store using APIs. They pull the sales data in real time from across all my e-commerce channels, Shopify, Amazon, and other places. In real time, they give me a score. In real time, they give me a limit. And within a matter of few hours, I can withdraw money from them. Right? So that 1 month process is turned into an hour process by these new age fintech startups. And this is a medium-sized company I'm talking about. Think of so many SMEs and MSMEs are there which can avail these kind of services in order to increase the productivity of their own company. Right. So these were the segments in companies' point of view or individuals. 46% of the individuals were not being touched by the traditional banking system. So these were the reasons. These companies and these individuals were the reason that the Fintech Revolution came to India. In order to improve the productivity.
So apart from that also, like you mentioned, data became cheap. Suddenly people had smartphones, so people could essentially do banking on phone.
True.
And then a better user till date I hate all bank apps. They're disgrace to UI UX.
Try using a neobank, you'll love it.
Really? Well, how has your experience been with neobanks? And I know that you use some.
So I use two neobanks. One is Aspire, which is international neobank. And one is FI.
Okay.
Which is an Indian neobank. Right. So I did not have to go to any bank to open an account. Within a matter of 15 minutes, they did my KYC. They took my Aadhaar, OTP verification. They did my identity verification, KYC, and everything. And within 15 minutes, my new bank was opened. Somewhere around 2 a.m. early in the morning.
Wow.
Right.
Crazy.
So that was.
And all of that was technology led.
All of that was technology led, and
Crazy.
I cannot believe why a traditional bank cannot do it because these guys are doing it. So they opened my account using a federal bank, which is also a bank, right? So fee uses federal bank to open an account instantly. They gave me a digital debit card, which was activated within a matter of another few minutes. So I can do the transaction. Let's say within an hour of opening a bank account. So that was the kind of speed I got from the neobanks, Fee and Aspire. So these are the kind of revolutions that these companies are bringing, and it's not just for the underserved. Right? The customers like me, the customers who are high check clients also can also use these banking products because of the UI UX that you just said. Right? Because banking should be simple.
Exactly. And imagine the kind of localization it would require, right?
True.
As soon as next billion are coming onto mobile apps and smartphones, and a person sitting in a remote village speaking a local language would definitely not be able to interact with the banking app which is in English.
True.
So that's where I think the real opportunities also lie. Right. And but I also want you guys to touch upon the biggest revolution in fintech which India has got, UPI, right? Bharat stack, in the India stack. So a little about that, because recently what I read was that just in UPI, just in August, last August, 630 1,000 crores of transactions have happened. The volume of money that has been moved via the UPI stack, and it's just increasing at an exponential rate. So I think that also was a major.
Yes, I think the payments were the first ones in terms of the fintech that got disrupted.
Makes sense.
And then, with the advent of payment, Paytm, and a lot of players into that segment, and then advent of UPI, it has actually revolutionized the payment ecosystem in India. I mean, you are able to pay through a scanner, and when I have traveled to a lot of countries, I see there are a lot of broken systems over there in terms of payments. When I come to India, it's a sigh of relief when I am able to transact to anyone through a single bank account that is linked to my UPI and through just a scanner. So I think payments were the first that got disrupted, and I mean there is huge market there also, and there are a lot of players there.
And it hasn't been too long. All of this story started in 2010. It's just been 12 years to fintech.
Yes.
Right, where the first payments app came out, the Paytms of the world, and then they grew, and now recently in terms of payment, Cred has come out.
Yes.
So also catering to a certain form. So I think there is a massive growth story to be still written.
See, I mean, if you talk about India, I mean, those 2010s, 11s,
Yeah.
the Flipkart, advent of Flipkart,
Yeah.
the
And digital payments
digital
essentially.
payments,
E-commerce enabling a lot of
data
transactions.
penetration,
Yeah.
a lot of household incomes going up,
Hmm.
a lot of action that has happened over there, and then a lot of government initiatives I would like to talk about, where government has actually helped to create a conducive environment for a lot of startups to help them out deliver what they are able to deliver right now. And then right now also, if when you talk about India, India is positioned very well in terms of when you talk about the how the global economy is shaping out. In terms of like we have got we have got increase in consumption right now.
Yeah.
Good investments is flowing into
Yeah.
the country. That is coupled by kind of the enthusiasm by retail investors and a lot of story happening on the household income. The bank loan thing has actually gone up around 16%, and it has been like since 2009 it is one of the biggest increase in terms of
Yeah.
bank loan
Yeah.
accounts
Yeah.
that's happened in India. So India is posed to like to actually transform this particular system, and a lot of fintech startup, as you said, that a lot of fintech startup has already come into place, and some of them are unicorns, some of them are unicorns, and then some of
Yeah.
are minicons. So so it's really interesting to see that how a lot of players coming into the picture, and like a lot of founders when you see when we talk about this industry, even the lending one, the CEO of Zest Money is basically Liz Chapman, which is who is a basically UK citizen. The founder of Simple, who is Nitya Sharma, he worked in US for 10 years, came back to India, created this great startup over BNPL, and he's trying to solve the real problems. Even Finbox was ideated. Everybody, so like Rajat was working for an international bank, and then out of that, and Anand was also working for one of the NBFCs in India, and then they got together with the idea of financial inclusion, created this good idea around the creating infrastructure for the next billion Indians, I would say.
Yeah.
And then got to this idea. So a lot of things, it doesn't happen in a day actually. I mean, a lot of work has been done, and a lot of things in terms of, as we talked about, data, a lot of ideas coming into the picture, and it has to be a kind of a cumulative ecosystem that goes into the picture, and then
Makes
you are able
sense.
to see a lot of great startups coming out.
So how do you predict the future of fintech? Like Ayush, Himanshu, what do you think are the next big sectors which upcoming entrepreneurs or people could look at to invest in?
I mean, so definitely a lot of these firms who are in the fintech space, they will go for public listing sooner. I mean, in 2 3 years, 4 years. I mean, as an investor, if I want to see the real amount of if you talk about the penetration, I mean, there are 900 million bank accounts, and there are only 30 million credit cards over there. So you imagine the kind of growth that will happen, the kind of unbanked customers or like unbanked citizens of India are there, like 50% are not able to basically avail a loan. So the kind of CAGR that will happen, the kind of opportunity that is there. So definitely these businesses will come out very big, and somebody who is looking out to invest, he can definitely think of investing when these companies go public in I think 3 4 years. As they are definitely right now on the kind of their stage where they have raised some kind of Series A, Series B, Series C.
But in terms of sectors, which one? Like
I mean, for like I know that India has a lot of opportunities that needs to be worked upon, but one thing that I feel strongly that should be something that I will also look into is cross-border money movement. A lot of things like UPI has solved so many problems in India itself by solving by making a unified infra for payments, right? One UPI code for multiple bank connections. But when we talk about different geographies, still the costs and the time it takes to move money from one place to another, one geography to another, it's huge. I mean, it's very rudimentary, is what I believe. It dependent on Swift, which is being done by a lot of countries together. But I think this cross-border money movement, if that becomes easier, then we'll see next wave of fintech companies coming up, which
Yeah.
would not be limited to one geography, but
Yeah,
will be a global company.
makes sense.
That's one thing I think it's gonna
Makes
be.
sense. For example, I was just talking to the founder of this startup, which is YC backed, called Swadesh, right? So what these guys do is all the students in India who want to go abroad, right? When they go abroad, it's a massive pain to set up a bank account,
Yeah.
get funds from parents, and essentially do expenses on housing and everything. So what these guys have done is more like a neo bank with one click. They have done partnerships across India, across US for any kind of student who is going to study abroad. The fund transfer from India to US is at the click of a button.
Yeah.
So
right.
so it's
Correct.
essentially cross-border money movement has been made easy for a particular segment of an audience, which are students,
Education.
right? Education.
Yeah.
So and then they could of course tomorrow build a lot of layers, value-added services on top of it.
Yeah, my reason to open a account in a new bank called Five was that since I was traveling, either I need to have a forex card if I want to transact something internationally, or I use my regular debit card or credit card. The thing is that the conversion charge is very high,
Yeah.
right? On the exchange rate.
Yeah.
But this new bank was taking almost no charges on conversion. Right, somehow they are doing it.
Yeah.
Right, when you reduce these friction of conversion charges or transaction charges, then maybe a lot of different.
Do you also think that it is the arbitrage before they may be burning the funds just for growth?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
You think they figured out a different revenue or commission model
Yeah,
at the back end instead of taking it directly from the consumer?
Exactly, correct.
Oh, very interesting.
That's what
I think so. The idea is to use tech to solve all these kind of problems
Yeah.
where customers
Yeah.
are facing a lot of kind of cost issues in terms of availing any kind of a service. So a lot of these founders, new age fintech founders have actually worked on their products and actually used tech in the right form to solve the right problem for the customers while making it seamless for them also.
Yeah.
So I think that is the case.
I also think that I'm just bullish about one sector, which I'm very bullish about in fintech, which I see growing massively, is since now, as you told, right, we have 900 million banks. Bank accounts have come, payments have come, lending is also started. The next big companies that I saw on the coast of New York were insurance companies.
Yeah.
So I'm bloody bullish about insurtech,
So
specifically insurtech.
like iterating the thing. So again, the fintech whole ecosystem will go around $1.3 trillion by 2025. Out of that, $600 billion would be driven by the lending. The next use case that comes and then the next market which captures is the insurtech. So that is around 26% and the payments would be like 16%. So like think of a market who is going to be big as $1.3 trillion, and this is a case study by INC 42.
Yeah.
So you can just check that out, and then so there is a massive amount of growth which will happen in the insurtech also, definitely. A lot of new players have already come, and the sector is booming.
So there's a lot of money to be given. There's a lot of money to be made.
Yes.
And I wish you and your firm all the best. That may you also root some towards us. But it's gonna be fun. Yeah. This was amazing, man. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome, guys, and
Great knowledge. Yeah.
great knowledge always.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll start with the ending note, which is what should our viewers do?
Subscribe, guys. I mean, these guys are actually doing some really crazy work in this area, and congratulations to them. They have just got their 500 subscribers, which is again, they are going on a rocket ship right now. So please subscribe and do so. Yeah, like in case you need anything, you have any query around the things that we discussed, you can definitely comment, and then we will be happy to answer that.
Sure. Thank you so much, guys. Adios. Until next time.